All the classics all the time. It's Belfast 89 FM. And joining me now is Ian Sinclair from the Whitehead Railway Preservation Society. You're on the sort of curatorial side of things, Ian, aren't you?
I am indeed, Justin. Yes, we look after the museum, putting up the displays, interpretive panels, that sort of thing, and producing material for online.
Now, you haven't been resting on your laurels, even though you can't open this year at all, it seems.
No, we haven't. We've been working behind the scenes in a number of projects. We've an old Guinness grain van, which has been restored. We hope to have that on display next year. We've plans for an exhibition, possibly online, possibly at the museum, depending what circumstances are, about the impact of the Blitz in Belfast on the railways. Hoping to get that up and running round about springtime, and a few other projects on the go as well. So yes, we've been kept busy.
Now, I do believe that about 4 decades ago, one of your conductors penned a poem, and you've done wonderful things with it as well.
Yes, well, it was a short story, a ghost story, written by a Northern Ireland Railways conductor, Tony Campbell, and published in the NIR staff magazine Signal. I think it was about Christmas 1979. A ghost story set out in County Armagh.
Okay, and we're about to enjoy it here. It's a 5-minute piece. Have a listen to this, folks.
Whitehead Railway Museum presents The Train's Coming, a ghost story for Christmas by Tony Campbell, adapted and read by Ian Sinclair.
It was Christmas 1955, and I was spending the holiday with some friends who lived near Lochgilly in County Armagh. That Christmas Eve we all went to the midnight service in the local parish church, but as I was feeling a little tired and unwell, I slipped out of the service early and started to head back to the house. As it was a clear moonlit night, I decided to take a shortcut along the old railway line to Glenanne station, which was close to my friend's home. The railway had closed some 6 months previously, and as I walked and sometimes tripped over the old sleepers in the overgrown track, I noted the decay in both the rails and the sleepers. Eventually, I arrived at Glenanne station, but what a change! 3 lamps were flickering, 1 in the ticket office and 2 in the platform, and as I was puzzling about this transformation, a tall man stepped out of the shadows and shouted at me, "Get off the line, the train's coming!" Now, I knew there were no trains in this line anymore, so I was more than surprised to hear those words, but I quickly stepped onto the platform, and in the light from one of the oil lamps I had a good look at him. He was a man of about 50 years of age. He had a black beard streaked with grey. He was wearing an old-fashioned coat, a choker and a tall hat. Indeed, he looked just like someone straight out of the Victorian era. Beside him were 2 other uniformed men, one a soldier in a red tunic and black busby hat of the Hussars, and the other a policeman wearing a sword. The tall man spoke again. "Will the train get clear? It must run to time or it will block the special. Listen, there it is now. It will just make it." To my amazement, a train rumbled into the platform, headed by a tank engine and hauling 2 green 6-wheel carriages. A fellow got off, and as he was leaving, he handed me a ticket. Without thinking, I put it in my coat pocket. Then I saw the train's driver and the tall man having an argument. Quickly the guard, a small bewhiskered man, joined in. "The special hadn't left the point when we left Newry, so of course we'll make it all right." And with that, he blew his whistle. The driver blew his, and the train moved away. I was about to make myself scarce when suddenly the tall man cried out, "My God, the special's coming! There's going to be a smash!" as he ran along the platform waving his handkerchief at the train, which was now approaching the station. It didn't stop. I'm ruined, cried the tall man. He should have stopped. He'll wreck the passenger. Then he ran into his office. All of a sudden, everything changed. The lights were out, the office looked deserted, and there was no sign of anyone around the station. Confused and puzzled, I put it down to the effects of being ill, and I headed for home. The next day, Christmas Day, I felt much better, and decided to take a short walk before we all sat down to our feast. I put my coat on, and heading out the door as it was nippy and I'd forgotten my gloves, I put my hands in my pockets, and there was a small piece of cardboard. I took it out, and to my amazement I discovered it was a single ticket from Newry to Lochgilly, as Glenanne Station had previously been known, dated the 14th of February 1870. It was the ticket given to me by the passenger last night. Although hard to believe, I began to realise that I must have witnessed some event which had happened a long time ago. About a week later, I was back home in Armagh, so I slipped out of work one lunchtime and called into the county museum to see what I could find out about Lochgilly Station. To my utter amazement, I discovered that on the 14th of February 1870, the date on my ticket, there was a crash between a passenger train and a director's special about 1 3/4 miles west of Lochgilly Station. 8 people were hurt. The result of the inquiry blamed the agent for allowing the passenger train to leave his station before the special. The agent hanged himself on Christmas Day, 1870.
Well, Ian, a pretty poignant story. It's based on actual events then?
It is based on actual events, yes. The accident did happen on the 14th of February 1870, although I think there's a little bit of license taken within the story. One of the things from my research suggests that the Glenanne station that the gentleman would have walked to on that particular Christmas Eve would not have been the Glenanne station that would have been involved in the accident. It seems to have moved location by a 1/4 of a mile or so at some stage. So there is a little bit of license within the story, but the basic facts are true.
It's nearly like The Crown then.
It is, yes. But it's a bit of fun for our visitors and supporters at Christmas time. And we put it up online because we want people to know that, yes, we're still there. We're closed at the moment, but we hope to be open in the new year. And as you say, we're not resting on our laurels. We're busy behind the scenes doing a few bits and pieces.
Ian Sinclair from Whitehead Railway Museum, thank you very much for joining us on Belfast 89 online and on air. And I tell you what, we'll keep everybody updated via our Facebook if you share things with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin.